Hey, Peanuts! Welcome to the Hey Peanuts Sports Show, a Wednesday night show that features the sports opinions of the fans sitting up in peanut heaven. This show airs Wednesday nights here on Beaver County Radio, and it is brought to you by TK Roofing Specialist in Elwood City. The phone lines are open at 724-843-1888 and 724-774-1888. Now, let's introduce your host for the show, Scott Kincaid and Brian Pasquale.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Hey Peanuts Sports Show. A lot of things to talk about, brought to you by TK Roofing Specialists, taking care of all your roofing needs, 412-969-1167. Also brought to you by Tamco Building Supplies, Building Materials. We proudly install the Titan XT shingle. It's the greatest shingle on the market. It's the latest thing. When you're ready to get a new roof, make sure you give us a call again. It's 412-969-1167. A lot of great things to talk about in sports, some bad things to talk about. I guess signed a record deal. Paul Skeens, $9.2 million. We'll see how that works out. I'm excited that they got the guy. I'm excited that they're giving the money. I don't know if it's just one of those things where hey, we're just going to invest. We're going to invest highly here because that keeps the value up when we sell him. And let's keep him a big baller because he's a big baller. His attitude's a big baller attitude. So that's the good thing, I guess, that happened with the Pirates. And then they won today, but that's the only time they've won since the last time we talked. And that's not good. That is not good at all. We're in last place. If you look at the way it's going right now, Pirates are on pace to almost 100 losses again, which would be disgusting after having a 20-8 start. But we can talk a little bit about today. They won today. I have a guest with us today, Joel Del Rosario from the Dominican Republic. He's now living in Pittsburgh and has been for some time, but you can definitely, when you talk and you hear him talk, you'll know that he's not from around here. And neither am I, so I'm originally from Tennessee, so this ought to be a fun show for you to pay attention to. Thank you for coming on, Joel.
Well, thank you so much, Scott. Yes, Pittsburgh is my home now, and obviously you and I spend a lot of time together nowadays.
Yes.
And just to throw right away that conversation that you started earlier, I do believe the Pirates got it right with the way they drafted this year. So I think Paul Skeens is the right guy, and I think the money shows that they do believe in him. And sometimes you look at those players, and I think it's a lot more than just their performance on the field. It's who they are behind scenes, how they work, and the kind of attitudes that they can bring to a clubhouse. So I think that's a big deal. I think they got it right from what I know of him. Obviously, the time will tell if he is or is he not.
I like the ego that he brings.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have a lot of egotistical baseball players on the Pirates. There's nobody getting the fire that says, "Hey, we're the best. I'm not accepting losing. I'm here to win the game." Type of attitude, and hopefully that transpires in the clubhouse or in the bullpen and all the way across the board. Can't wait to see him up here. I imagine the plan is to send him down to Double-A maybe this year, and possibly move him up to Triple-A this year, depending on how he does. Let's see how he does in Double-A. And then, I would assume in a weird, crazy world, if we were in this, you might see him at the end of the year up here in a Pirates uniform, but I don't think that's going to happen now based on what I've seen in the last week from the Pirates, and it doesn't look like we're trending towards any playoff hopes, which is sad. But, I mean, I'd like to save a salvageable year, I think. And I think Pirates fans deserve better than this when it comes to play to win the game. Stop doing this. Stop doing some of the things they do. There's a lot of things that have happened in these losses that are just too unexplainable. We don't have enough time, and I don't think my blood pressure could handle some of the stuff.
Your blood pressure doesn't have any time left
these last few games. But I mean, I do like they won today. Rich Hill got the start. And then one of the young kids, Bradico, is that what his name is? I don't need to pull it up. One of the new kids came in, and he got the win. Mm-hmm. Bednar got the save.
Triolo looked really good, one of the young guys coming up. I think he looks very promising.
Yes, I agree. And so it's scary because now we're getting really close to the trade deadline, and all these kids that you are seeing that have promise are probably the kids that don't have the fan base, and they're probably more likely to hit the road. And let's get more prospects. And I don't know. I'm kind of tired of that record.
Yeah, it just sounds like the same thing. And I'm a firm believer that to build a championship team, or at least a winning team, you have to have a mix of everything. You have to have the young talent. You have to have the promising guys. You have to got the older players that can teach all those young guys how to be pros. Because it's a big part of being a professional player outside of being on the field. And it's part of your performance, how you behave outside of the field. Are you sleeping well? Are you eating correctly? Are you exercising right? Are you communicating? Are you learning? There's so much homework that goes behind playing sports in the sense of watching videos, training, that
timing out your body and your mind to be at peak performance at game time can be tricky, especially when you played last night and then you played today.
Mm-hmm.
It can be difficult.
It can be difficult when you think about these players that are on a plane every couple of days in a new hotel room, in a new bed. If you don't treat your body right, that's part of the grind of a baseball season. And to your point of schemes coming up, normally that is one of the reasons why those guys have to sit on the minor leagues for a little while. They have to learn that process. It's not just I throw 100 miles an hour, they can't touch it. They're young guys, they're young minds. They got to learn how to be pros out of the field, just so they can come back every 5 days, be healthy, be rested, and be ready to go. Like, it's a lot more than just simply, I'm the best baseball player there is. Obviously, if you're getting paid to play, you're good at what you're doing. But can you sustain that through 162 games with all the grind that comes with it? And
well, today's modern baseball, no one does 162 games. Even if you're not hurt, you see these guys. It's not the same baseball as it used to be.
It definitely is not. And I think that is also part of the.
That's why it's amazing when you see some of these records that are still getting broke by guys that you also had weekends off, or a couple of games off every other week that just slipped in there, and I'm pretty sure Mickey Mantle and some of these didn't do that. You didn't get those time off, but maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong on that aspect, but I want to say the old timer guys played all the games. If you weren't hurt, you're playing.
Yeah, I think there's a big part of that as well. It's like a job. If you don't show up to your job, you don't get paid. These young guys are getting so much money without even stepping on the field, with endorsements, with guaranteed contracts.
$9.2 million.
And like, yeah, my toe hurts. I'm taking the day off, man. My toe is worth $10 million.
Right.
And for those guys back in the days, a lot of those older players, if you look back in history, they have to have part-time jobs outside of playing the sport. So these guys were grinders, man. They didn't have enough seasons to just eat and get healthy.
And even with all the technology, that where they're bigger, they're stronger, they're this or that, and then in some aspects, the modern player today is soft compared to the old guys, because you had to play, and it didn't matter. Oh, you twisted your ankle, rub some dirt on it, kid. Let's go.
And you're good to go. Let's go.
Right. All these people came to see you play, and we're pumping you up this way, and you play through the pain, and so it's definitely different.
Yeah, it is different. Definitely it is. And you see it in the performance on the field and the longevity of the players anymore.
I think that what frustrates me, and I think it frustrates a lot of Pirates fans, though, is it seems like we're we have our own farm league system within the system. Like, we're the farm league for all these other guys, because we're going to talk about this. How can you be a Yankees and be consistent, but they're in last place? So that's not a good example. But you do this year. But they consistently are more likely to be in it every year because they're not the farm league.
They're not the farm league, correct.
Right. And so, and all the teams in Major League Baseball love the Pirates. Mm-hmm. That's where they shop first. If you need a player, call Bob Nutting. See if Ben Sheridan's going to sell somebody today. Mm-hmm. See if we can make a deal with them, because they already have 3 catchers. One's playing right field, has no business playing right field. Another wasted. And that scares me. At least Paul Skeens is a pitcher. Henry Davis is also #1 overall pick. And, I mean, he probably plays right field better than me, but he's not that's not his position. He's a catcher. He's a catcher with a bat. That's why we got him, but he's not catching. Mm-hmm. So what are you going to do? He's not going to have any place to play. When we get healthy again next year, where are you putting this guy?
And then what are you doing with him? Yeah.
So that kind of scares me. And they're going to somehow sell it that it makes sense to us. that we trade him somewhere else, and he'll develop and be great somewhere else, like we've seen time and time again. And so is Paul Skeens. Should we get excited about the 9.2 and they're going to do the right thing? And is he good at this? We might never see him in a Pirates uniform, is my fear. I hope that's not the case. I wish, he maybe, what are they, like the accidental, you hit your head, bob nutting, and you wake up and go, oh, you know what? I've had this baseball team for a while. I wonder what it's like to win the World Series.
Yeah.
And then, call Scott and Joel. We'll help you. Brian's not here. Hopefully Brian calls in today. We'll help you. We'll totally help you. A lot of people in Pittsburgh would love to help you to make a winning team with all the things. I think we're going to have the number 1 pick next year. It looks like we're the fourth worst team in the entire league, and in record time. It's disgusting to me.
Yeah, you will think that. I think one of the biggest issues is that we don't see the primes of the players here in Pittsburgh. They come up, all of a sudden they're promising players. They're ready to go. They're ready to make money. See you later. Let's do the same thing with the next guy. And then they go play your prime somewhere else. Maybe we'll pick you up once your prime is over, bring you back so you can teach the young guys.
That's only been one case with McCutcheon.
Well, AJ Burnett, the same thing.
Oh, yeah, they did.
So I'm not saying that that's a trend, but that's just kind of like the way you feel as a Pirate fan. It's like, so we ship him out for the prime, bring him back later. We celebrate you here, retire you, but then we need you in your prime so we can win some ball games.
We're still having 100 game losses.
I'm a huge baseball fan in general. I grew up in a country where we love baseball. And back when I grew up, there was no cable TV. So you just love the game and whatever you can watch. Right. So the Mets came about. I grew up a little bit of a Mets fan because the Mets were pretty good at that time. They won the World Series. So we get the World Series in national TV there. So I'm like, oh, I like the blue team. I was just a little boy.
Oh, right.
So I like the blue team, right? So all of a sudden I'm loving this blue team. And I came to the United States. And then I learned about the other teams that I can watch and play as well. I'm like, my goodness, it's like a whole 30-team league here that I can enjoy. And now living in Pittsburgh, I've been dying to be a great Pirates fan, but they make it very difficult.
Right, I can imagine.
And I'm not knocking down the city whatsoever. If anything, I can see the city being so thirsty for a winning team. If you go to the stadium at the beginning of the year, and now it's 2 different experiences. You and I have experienced it both because we went together at the beginning of the year.
24,000 people in a day game.
Yeah. I have several years back when they did make that wild card, this stadium was as electric as I ever seen a stadium.
The blackout.
The blackout.
Against Cincinnati.
I mean, I still watch videos of that, and you can see people jumping up and down on the stands, and I'm like, how cool is that? That's how I remember baseball growing up. That's how you watch baseball. Right. And the Pittsburgh people in the Pittsburgh area is ready for a team to do that. But it just doesn't happen.
2013?
Was it 13 or 16? 13?
2013.
Yeah, and
10 years. 10 years, and we have to go back that far to get a good memory. We ready to go to our first one? We're gonna get more into this Dominican talk. I get to pick his brain every day, and so I'm blessed. But I want to see if I can somehow get him to share with you some of the experience he shared with me about growing up in the Dominica, playing baseball, and then I want to point out also and try to explain to the listeners here that Dominican involvement in American baseball is they're the best. So when we look at the size of the Dominica and the size of the United States and Venezuela and some of these other countries that are also contributing players to the league, it's just an anomaly to me. It's kind of like to compare it with you guys that are from up here. How is it Aliquippa keeps producing NFL players from their high school? And if you've been to that facility, which they got a new one now, but if you went to the old one that produced all these players, what are they doing? And so I want to see if Joel will give us the secret. We're going to blow Dominican's secret and tell us how this is happening because they just really are good. And while you're on the break, start planning your trip for after the show to get down to the Just One More Sports Bar. Tonight is calzone night or it is antipasta Pittsburgh style, which was good last week. They did not say. I think you can probably get them both. And tomorrow's wing night, fish night Friday. We'll be right back.
Beaver County Radio is your source for Dono and Matt Durzick have reports from local school board and municipal meetings. You can also follow Beaver County Radio on our website at beavercountyradio.com and our Facebook page for breaking news as it happens. With all that coverage, you don't need to go anywhere else but Beaver County Radio News and beavercountyradio.com.
The wheels on the bus go round and round, round and round, round and round. The wheels on the bus go round and round, all through the town. Oh, hi. Don't mind me. This is Andy Dengel. I was just getting ready for the big Freedom United Federal Credit Union bus trip to the ballpark. Why don't you join me? Members and guests of Freedom United Federal Credit Union are invited to a special annual meeting and outing to the stadium on August 12th for a Bucco game. As I alluded to earlier, bus transportation is available and tickets even come with a food credit. Space is limited, so sign up now by visiting the Rochester office or calling 724-774-5575. Don't miss the bus to the Buccos with your friends from Freedom United Federal Credit Union on August 12th. Follow us on Facebook for more information. It's the place where the interest is in you. Freedom United Federal Credit Union. Member NCUA, Equal Housing Lender.
Tune in to Teleforum with Eddie Crow, weekdays from 9 a.m. to 12 noon, right here on Beaver County Radio. Eddie has a unique outlook on things, and we'll be discussing the issues that are important to the people of Beaver County. Eddie will also have monthly guests along with other special guests. Curtis Walsh will have news at the top and bottom of the hour, so make sure you tune in to Teleforum with Eddie Crow, weekdays from 9 a.m. to noon, right here on 1230 WBVP. 1460 WMBA, 99.3 and 95.7 FM, and BeaverCountyRadio.com. Tune in to Beaver County Radio, Sunday nights from 7 to 9 p.m. for Scott Paulson's Radio Stella. Radio Stella is presented by Fry Transportation and is all about the history of rock and roll. Scott is armed with thousands of songs and useless rock and roll trivia that he has put together to bring you 2 hours of jams every Sunday night that you may never forget. Radio Stella is also being brought to you in part by Pittsburgh Guitar. So tune in Radio Stella with Scott Paulson every Sunday night from 7 to 9 here on Beaver County Radio.
Hey, Peanuts!
We're having a little technical difficulties here, so bear with us. Something going on with the headphones. Sorry, we got covered in the new studio, which, by the way, Curtis, I drove by the old studio today, and they took down the sign, and behind the sign was an impression of the original sign. I assume it was the original sign. And I don't know if you had an opportunity to see that.
I haven't seen it in person yet, but I was down. I did see the picture. Frank was showing me the picture, and I know what you're talking about. The old WBVP and WWKS lettering is visible behind.
Right, like they just that place is always going to be a radio show. They're trying to deface it. No, we are the radio station. That was a great little location. When you walked into that building, it was like stepping back into time. You could actually smell the 50s. Do you remember this?
Oh, yeah.
Totally could smell the age in the building.
Loved it there, but the facilities here are great, amazing.
Oh, yeah. I wouldn't try. I would totally wouldn't go back there.
Oh, yeah.
But it's a nice memory. I was glad to have that as part of, because even though I'm new in radio,
been able to experience it.
I'm new in radio, but when I tell people I was talking into what kind was that microphone? That was from the 50s too. The microphone we were talking into. The
Electro Voice RE20 is what those were,
and they're really, really old.
I'm not sure what. Yeah, those are a classic mic.
They were definitely classic.
Yeah.
So I would sit there and think, I wonder how many people have talked into this thing.
A lot.
A lot of people. So anyhow, we good to go?
I think we're good to go. Can you hear me now?
I can't hear you. But that's okay. I can hear you across the room. It's all
How
right.
about now?
That was
Here
my
I
fault,
am.
sorry.
There we
Wow,
go.
look at me.
Different chair. So anyhow, I'm looking up and trying to figure out how I can do this comparison. And so I pulled up how many different nationalities play in the Major League Baseball. So the United States has 1,057 players. Dominican Republic is second with 171 players. Then it drops down and starts really dropping fast. Venezuela has 106 players. And you were talking to me earlier. Venezuela has 28 million people, where Dominican Republic has 11 million people in population.
That is correct, yeah.
Right. So then it goes down to Cuba has 33. Puerto Rico has 28. Mexico has 24. Mexico is one of the most populous countries on the planet, and they produce 24. So Canada has 15. It doesn't surprise me, but then again, I would expect more from Canada with some of the stars that they come out of Canada and play in professional sports, be it NBA and in the NFL, and of course in hockey. I mean, half of the hockey team, half of the NHL is Canadian. And then Panama has 9, which Panama is pretty small.
Panama is small. Yeah, I've been there.
Smaller than Dominica.
Actually, the first country that I played outside of the Dominican Republic, played some baseball when I was little there.
I was stationed. I'm gonna go off base here real quick because this is a cute story, and I just thought I just
got you.
it just hit me. You ever had one of those ideas?
Yeah, absolutely.
Before it comes at you. So I was stationed there for a little while, and they gave us duty. There's a row on the naval base that the naval officers wear white, and they ride these jeeps, and they go. Once you get on base, there's a long road, and the monkeys would like to throw poop at them as they drove through. And they built these little bunkers and gave us little bitty pea shooters. We shot little plastic pellets, like you as a little kid. You shoot your eye, kid. But these things, you don't aim for the face and hit the monkeys. And when you see them, you would sit there until the officers drove through. And then they would tell you, oh, we got one coming through, and you get up and you spray a little area, make sure to let them know, hey, if we see you, we're getting you. And they would clear the little area. We were protecting the officers from monkey poo.
Monkey poo protection services.
Monkey poo duty.
That sounds very honorable.
Right. Well, you won't see that on the Few and Proud commercial. or any of the armed forces ones, which I'm a proud veteran, but once you do a little time in the service, you do a lot of stuff that's not what you signed up for, that we don't talk about.
Imagine.
It's terrible.
I can imagine.
There's poo duty.
Probably just like anything else, any job that you got, you think you got to figure it out.
If you're down low, there's poo duty. You ever watch Apocalypse Now, or what's the other one? Vietnam movie with Charlie Sheen. He had poo duty at the beginning of the movie. You got to burn the poo. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about.
Okay.
And it's fairly disgusting in my mind.
Right. That's when I'm like, the benefits are not worth it. The benefits are not worth it. Anyhow, somebody's got to do it. So, all right, back to what we were talking about. So, Japan has 7 players. South Korea has 6. Curacao? Am I saying that
Curacao.
right? Curacao.
Yes.
I knew I didn't say that right. That's
Curacao.
why I said that funny. They have 5. Where's Curacao?
It is in the Caribbean area as well, kind of like tours.
How many people are there?
Oh, like 11. I don't know. It's a very small country.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Australia and Germany combine to make 3 players. I don't know what that means. And then, 2 players are from multiple places. I don't understand that on this list either. But I think it's interesting to me just because Dominica has so many up there. And then getting to know you real well and your work ethic. And I've obviously met a few of your friends too. They worked with me also. Miss you, Emil, if you're watching out there. He moved to Florida. greatest kid ever.
We do miss you, Emil.
And there was Ray, and he's still around in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, Ray's still very close to me. One of my closest friends here in Pittsburgh. Yeah.
Very talented athlete. Still tries to get in the game. All three of you guys played at Point Park University, so that was the network there. But then also notice when we went to the game to see Albert Pujols last year, for some reason, you guys network in Pittsburgh. All you guys were all on the same little – you guys took over one little section up there.
Yeah.
And it was already predetermined. And there's a network there that you guys keep together and a continuity that you just don't find – I don't think it's very rare to see, and it's delightful to see. If I can say that. We have to say something real quick too. I have to apologize to Brian. Last week we were talking about Vladdy Guerrero Jr.
Yeah,
and he said I think he's Cuban, and I said he's Dominican, and so it was an argument we had. I won, obviously, because he's Dominican.
You had the right information.
I had the right information, and he couldn't figure it out. And Brian hates to be wrong. And so on the side note, when I told you about it the next day, you laughed. And explain to me why you laughed. How did you know about this beforehand?
Well, in the home run derby, just happened last Monday, I believe it was. They had Vladdy and Rosarena were in the championship. They were the last two guys standing. Rosarena is a Cuban-born player. Vladdy Guerrero is a Dominican-born player. Apparently, whenever Vladdy Jr. won the home run derby, ESPN puts normally winner, and underneath his name they say first Cuban-born player to win the home run derby. And apparently somebody on ESPN alerted whoever posted it, and they took it off immediately. But it was long enough for people obviously to take pictures, rewind it on their phones or whatnot. And there was a meme actually on. I watched it because one of the guys that was in my house watching the home run derby.
Oh, you called it live?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh.
They go like, "What is this? He's not Cuban." I'm like, "Of course he's not Cuban." So my interpretation of it is they took Rosarena's information and put Vladdy's name on top of it.
And just forgot to do
They forgot to kind of adjust it. And
so
it's out there in the universe. He's out there in the cloud, unfortunately. The Vladdy Guerrero Jr., which that's what I say. Maybe Brian was watching the home run derby.
Had to be.
Saw it, and that's the information that he retained. He said, I did not even know he was Cuban. Well, he's not, everybody.
Right. Well, and his mother's Canadian, so he's half Dominican.
Well, he was actually born in Canada because his father played in Canada for the Montreal Expos.
Oh, so his wife wasn't Canadian.
I don't believe his mom is Canadian.
So he's Dominican.
He is Dominican.
If we were trading horses right now, he's Dominican. There's no Canadian
He sure
blood
doesn't
there.
speak neither French or English any better than he does Spanish. So he was raised Dominican. He just happened to be born there because that's where his dad was playing Major League's Vladdy Guerrero.
Gotcha.
So
I don't think, and I'm a firm believer in this. I don't think bloodline and that type of thing matters. I think it's the way you're raised, the way you're brought up, the way you're inside. You're instilled a certain value, what to respect, and how to live your life, how to carry yourself, how to treat others. That makes a difference.
Yeah, 100% agree. And your family is huge, especially those first 18 years of your life, where however you're raised, the values, the food that you eat, the things that they teach you in a home obviously makes you what you are. I think. I don't know.
It's not necessarily a bloodline thing. It's like, what's the movie, Trading Places? I'm getting old now.
Oh, my goodness.
But that's what the experiment was. We're going to take this guy out of this environment, put him in here, doing a social experiment, just to kind of prove that point. But
100%.
But that was the movie. In real life, you guys that play baseball that come from the Dominican Republic all seem to have this certain work ethic that I just admire. It's been nothing but great for my company. And I couldn't be happier knowing
I
you guys.
appreciate that.
I really got to get out there. I wish I wasn't so busy. I got to get out there and watch you actually play in one of these tournaments. And on the weekends, you go Columbus here, and I don't know how many leagues that play softball.
Yeah, we play everywhere.
baseball.
I teach baseball as well. I do individual one-on-one training for kids, any ages from 6
And
all
this
the way
is
to
a free
college.
spot. The radio's here. You could make your boss proud. Tell them where it's at. Tell them how to reach you at TK Sports Facility. Is that what it's
It's
called?
actually not TEK, but you just got to take the E off of it. So TK which is basically training camp spelled with a T and a K. So TK baseball and softball right on West Mifflin. We have a big facility there with cages to people to hit of any ages. We have 70-foot cages, 45-foot cages. We have a small field of 120 feet, I believe. We do training one-on-one for baseball and softball. We have actually a lady that does some on her own training for fast pitch for girls. And we
what if I'm across the pond and I come from across the pond and I want to play a little cricket? You got one of them machines?
What's funny is that we have a big following of cricket players there as well.
It's big here.
We are indoors, so that helps in Pittsburgh with the weather. So whenever the winter comes along, that's where people that want to keep practicing their sports do it.
They're the best batting cages ever. I don't know if I talked about this on air yet or not. I was totally fascinated when I did go over there and see it. I was so glad you said, "Hey, you want to come see where I work?" And I said, "Yeah." There's a screen for the batting cage, and it puts a picture or a video of the pitcher that you want pitching against you on the screen, and when he throws the pitch, the ball comes out of his hand right there at the screen. It looks like the guy's throwing a ball at you instead of this hole in the wall that I grew up on.
With the arm coming around, and at the time the arm coming to you, and you're like, well, your timing is pretty messed up after that.
And you're not hitting anything of any speed out of those machines because it's just, poof. I mean, all you just see the blur coming at you. With this, I thought it was fascinating. And then when you said, you could change it to left-handed pitchers,
you can do whatever you want with it. Any speed, and what is interesting, when you set up the machine and you put the level that you want, actually the size of the picture matches that. So if you put 8 to 9 years old, then it's an 8 to 9-year-old kid that's going to show up on the screen.
Oh, that's so amazing.
Right? If you go to pro level, then you have a pro player. You can have lefties, righties. He throws changeup, curveball, sliders, any speed from like 40 miles an hour all the way to, I don't know, 100 and whatever it comes. I haven't put it all the way up.
But you can actually decide the pitch as the trainer while the guy's batting, like, all right, throw him a slider.
Yeah,
and then
I can change it. You can change the location, high, low, in, out. So you can do whatever you want. And what's cool is we have 3 cages. You have one cage that has a baseball batting pitching machine. The other one in the middle, our cage number 2, what we call it, has a softball pitching machine. And then cage number 3, believe it or not, has a cricket pitching machine. So cricket has the downfall, if you don't have a machine, that if you want to practice hitting in cricket, you need like 6 guys to pitch because this is so aggressively pitched.
Right.
You cannot just have one guy throw 100 pitches. His arm is never going to make it, right? So now with the facility having one machine allows 2 guys to be there, one to operate the machine, one to hit, and you get a little more clientele, more people interested on it.
So if I was interested, how would I get in touch with you?
Simply go to TK Baseball and Softball online. You can get online there. You can book. Right now, we are fully automated in the sense that you can book 24/7. You go online. You say, I want to book a cage. It gives you the list of the cages. You pick what cage you want to go in. The duration that you want to be in the cage, 30 minutes or an hour, will give you the price right there. You can pick the times or the day that you want to do it. You can go on a Sunday at 6 a.m. or Friday at 11 p.m. And an hour before your appointment, we'll send you a code that will allow you to go into the facility. Everything's there explained to you in the book. The email has explanation on how to operate the machine, how to do anything that you want with it. And whenever you're done, you shut the lights and out the door you go. So allows you to be able to train. It's almost like we get into that point that there's no excuse to not train.
I can think of a few.
So well, and I think it's almost like teaches you discipline, man. There is ways to do it. You just have to want to do it. You have to get up and make it happen for yourself. When me coming up as a baseball player, the information that we have as trainer, I train kids now, and I do it on a one-on-one basis. The information that's out there about training and how many different systems and how many different ways to do it, you develop this kid so much more now. We're going back to the beginning of the show when we were saying back in the days versus now, their bodies, their development, all that kind of stuff that the players have is a different game because now you can train the way that you can have one guy for 1 hour with you and nobody else bothering you, telling you what to do and how to do it correctly. and sends you home with a group of things to do, send me some videos, because now we have,
Right.
send me some videos. I can help you correct your drills while you're at home doing it with your parents. And I'll see you next week. Next week, we touch bases on what we did the week before, and we touch bases on the new things. Now you can give me a video in a game. Come, hey, I struggled. I went 0 for 4. Popped up to second base 3 times and struck out once. Let me see your at-bats real quick. All right? This is what we're going to work on today. There's something there. And what is interesting is 80% of the time it's a mental blockage, not a physical one.
It's just in your head.
There's something in your head that you were thinking too much about. You were focusing on the on the wrong thing. And it's a way to how to flip that back over so you're confident about.
What do? Do you pull the tin cup psychology? Like, take everything out of your right pocket, put it in your left pocket. Now turn your head around backwards, and I'll look like an idiot, but you won't be shanking it into him. You know.
Let me tell you something, man. And this is something that not a lot of people know about me. I worked in the restaurant business for 14 years, right? And now I'm here doing this baseball, and we running a roofing company. Well, I have a college degree in psychology.
Right.
Okay.
That's my major.
Never thought that it would. That
was my major too.
That's funny. Never thought it would be so useful in my life. I mean, and I don't want to say that it wasn't necessarily the college experience, but. Or that degree as a degree, but how I approach life based on what I was studying and getting to know people and understanding people a little bit. And each kid that I have is a world. It's a different world. And It's almost like you have to take a chip out and put a new one in every time you switch a kid, because it's a whole different world. You get a 7-year-old kid that only wants to tell you about his Kenny Wood experience while you're trying to teach him baseball.
Right.
But then you get the high school kid that wants to go to the major leagues, and he really wants to put some work in. And then you get that, there's so much that you deal with. And that's why I don't even see it as work. It's amazing how much I learned from these kids about myself and my patience.
I do know we work our tail off. You have that. I mean, we work hard.
We do. We definitely
during
do.
the day, and then you go do that in the evenings. And I can't remember any time in the few years I've known you that you've ever said, I live in the perfect life. I just have a good life. You have a great attitude. Mm-hmm. And I think that also comes from appreciating where you came from.
Man, let me tell you.
What would you have done if you'd had that facility back home? When Dominican Republic is a country, where were you from in Dominica?
I'm born and raised in Santo Domingo. Santo Domingo is the capital. Okay. That's where everything happens. It's difficult to explain. Because when you think about a downtown in a capital, you think about big buildings, you think about a lot of businesses, you think about it's almost like a bad part of the country or a bad part of a city of an area, let's say in Pittsburgh, turn into a city. Because there's a lot of poverty in the city.
It's kind of like Jackson, Mississippi.
Right? Never been, but that would be an interesting comparison.
Montgomery, Alabama.
But
we can keep going. Well, it's Montgomery's the capital, right? Montgomery's the capital of Alabama.
But it's interesting because at a very early age, then you learn how to deal with all kinds of different people. You go to a high school with the richest kid on your right and the poorest kid on your left. And you kind of learn how to survive in that environment. If I can say, in my case, my family was probably middle class. Both of my parents worked. They worked full-time jobs. We went to decent schools.
Which came first, the baseball game or the glove?
I think it was the baseball game.
So what did you do? Did you do the Pedro Martinez? Did you have a piece of cardboard cut out the right size and stuff in your pocket?
I didn't have to go that far on it because when I first started playing baseball, I was about 7 years old. Here's what happens in Dominican Republic. We don't have organized baseball like we do here in the United States. There's no high school versus high school tournaments. There's no state championships and national championships and regional championships. That doesn't exist at all over there. High schools don't have baseball teams.
Heroes every day. You just go there and pick a team?
You have to go get it. You have to go. There is baseball leagues or baseball academies or facilities, however you want to call it. And your your dad goes, "So you want to play baseball?" Yes. Well, we're going to sign you up. Back in my days was La Liga Mercedes, a Mercedes League.
Okay.
Mercedes is the last name of the gentleman that owned the facility, the league. So then you sign up there. They take all the kids from 11 and 12 years old and make a tournament. And then you play a season. And everybody gets a uniform, and that's how you learn and develop. Okay. Nowadays, it's a little more advanced than in my times. For all of my softball guys are probably going to start laughing about my age because I know they do that on a daily basis.
You're young.
But back in my time, we had, that's the way we had to play baseball. There was no other way around it. You either did that or you were a professional ball player. There's no in between. Colleges don't have baseball teams, so there's not a college division of baseball. It's interesting to say this. In a country like you were saying, so many players come out of it. How do you play baseball, right?
Right. 171 Major League Baseball players right now currently playing went through this. This is how they were introduced to baseball. Mm-hmm. Without a doubt. There was no like, hey, there's nobody going there and going, hey, your kid's in the minute he's 7. We're going to ship him up here to Bradenton and move your family or nothing like that. They all had to go through that. Yeah,
they have to go through that. And I think what that creates, and this is my personal opinion, what that creates is if you go play baseball, is because you want to play baseball and you need your family to back you up. Because they have to take you to these leagues. They got to pay for these leagues. It's not like you're just sitting in high school and say, anybody wants to sign up for the baseball team? Sure, we need 2 more. I'll do it. I'll just stay here a little longer. I'll play with my friends. There was a cost behind that to your parents. There was a time that you had to go. Normally when I play, we used to play Saturday mornings. So every Saturday morning, then you were excited, I'm going to the league, and you were there all day long playing baseball.
Now, you've been back to Dominica. Has it changed?
Yes, things have changed a little bit because of so much influence with the Major League Baseball teams. Well, every single Major League Baseball team has an academy facility in the Dominican Republic.
Go figure.
Every single one of them.
I knew I'd get something out of this.
And now your goal is not to win a state championship or get a scholarship. Doesn't exist there, right? So your goal is to play professional ball. And there is these facilities. Let's say, I'm just going to give you an example. You and I decided to build this baseball facility. We create a relationship with all the scouts of this baseball academies, of all the Major League Baseball academies. Okay. We develop the kids, and then we go to these showcases and bring these kids that we think they're ready for. The scouts come and see them, and then they get signed at a very young age. I mean, they're signing kids at 14 years old, 15 years old.
Yeah, kid came from Puerto Rico, Academy of Puerto Rico. He made the first round.
Mm-hmm. Well, so then they put these kids into this, let's say, I don't know, Pittsburgh Pirates sign whoever, this little kid that we have in our academy. They want to put him into their academy. Now they have to sign him professionally there, which is a different labor laws, right? You can probably sign him a little younger than you would here in the United States. And now you belong to that team. You live in these facilities.
Oh, wow.
6 days a week. They send you home Saturday afternoons. You come back Monday mornings. So they feed you. You lift weights in their facilities. You got their weight training program. You play.
Well, that's not how you got here. You played Point Park. You were a catcher for Point Park.
I went a whole different route. There is a whole different route to this plan. This is the direct plan into going into professional ball. Right. There's the other route that is the one that I took. Back then, it's a lot harder than it was today, which it was the college route. Right. I had a good education. I graduated high school. My parents put me through a good school. I was able to learn enough English to pass a placement test.
I think you speak great English.
Man, thank you.
But I'm from Tennessee, so that doesn't say a whole lot.
Thank you. A lot of people still struggle to understand the things that I'm saying. But anyways, so then I was able, it was a pure luck. I had a gentleman that came down in one of our games. I was coming to see this shortstop that was playing for our team. The game got rained out. We were normally go to this, let's call sports bar, but it was like a corner store. You hang out, play some dominoes and whatnot.
Gotcha.
We were going over there. My one buddy that was going to be seen did not have a ride. I was driving. And I told him, I said, you want to ride with me? He said, well, I got these guys coming to see me. Could you wait for me? And then we'll go back together and meet the rest of the guys. I was like, sure, let's do that. I don't have a problem. Gentleman came in, was trying the shortstop, looked at me and said, what position do you play? He said, I'm a catcher. we're looking for a catcher as well. Will you mind trying out for us? I'm like, no, I'm ready to go. I'm a uniform. We're ready for game. Long story short.
That gentleman was from Point Park.
No, this gentleman was from Hudson, New York. My first stop here was in upstate New York.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. And he got me there, played 2 years community college there, and Point Park University, back then Point Park College. I had a great season. I was all region, all conference. Obviously, my name was all over the place. At that time, recruited me to finish my last 2 years with a full scholarship here in Pittsburgh.
So that's what? That's Brooklyn? Bronx?
No, it's way northern. It's about 2 hours from the city. Oh. It's about 30 minutes south of Albany.
Now that college is over, I like that you chose Pittsburgh over New York for sure.
Yeah.
We're glad to have you. I think you're a staple in your community right now. And so it's been a joy.
Yeah.
Getting to know you. I hope that we continue to do this.
I'd be more than happy to continue to do this. I mean, I have so many stories, as you can imagine, as a young kid trying to come to another country, play the sport that you love while learning a language, while learning a culture, while not having your parents around, while not having any family. I got some fun stories. I look back at my life and I'm like, man, I've lived it.
Yeah,
and I still have a long way to go. So
yeah, what are you, 43?
45.
45?
45 years old.
So I guess that's about how long it's been that I've known you, because in my mind you're 43, the same age you were when I met you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 45 years old.
When we come back here, we're going to talk a little bit more about Pirates, see what you think about the future of where we're going, and maybe we want to talk a little bit about the NFL. I know you're a big NFL fan too, as much as you know much baseball. Mm-hmm. You're a sports fan, and you're a Steeler fan.
I am a big Steeler fan.
Big Steeler fan. A lot of things happened this week. You've been listening to Beaver County Radio. We're also on Beaver County Radio Facebook Live. We're here at 99.3 WBVP, 95.7 WNBA, and on your AM station, 1230 and 1460. We'll be right back. Thanks.
The warm weather is back, and that can only mean one thing. Pirates baseball for a 75th season on Beaver County Radio. Tune in and listen to the Pirates Radio Network broadcast team as they take you through every pitch, hit, and out of the 2023 baseball season. Make sure you set your radio dial to WBVP WMBA 99.3 FM or 95.7 FM for all the action. Pirates baseball is being presented locally by the St. Barnabas Health System, Freedom United Federal Credit Union, Falcone's Moon Township Board, Keystone Wellness Program, Friendly Federal Credit Union, Dr. C. Timothy Lip, and Beaver County Radio, 95.7 and 99.3 FM, 1230 WBVP and 1460 WMBA.
Friendly Federal Credit Union, you got a friend.
Do you like family reunions? How about class reunions? Seeing familiar, friendly faces at a gathering is something most people look forward to. With that in mind, how about having a reunion worth telling others about? This is Cindy Hiladio from Friendly Federal Credit Union. If you miss the experience of seeing a live teller at your current financial institution, maybe it's time to reunite with Friendly Federal Credit Union. You'll get that same warm, fuzzy experience of connecting with others, just like attending a reunion, but without having to get your hair dyed or wear a name tag. What do you say? It's time to have a reunion with live, personable, friendly tellers. Visit Friendly Federal Credit Union, member NCUA, equal housing lender.
Friendly Federal Credit Union, you got a friend.
Are you ready for a life-changing career? Presley Ridge is seeking bachelor's and master's level mental health professionals to support kids and families in Beaver County. Up to $5,000 sign-on bonuses are available. Presley Ridge employees receive high-quality clinical supervision and training, flexible schedules, and competitive benefits. Visit presleyridge.org/careers for current opportunities and to apply now. Presley Ridge is an equal opportunity employer.
When accidents and injuries happen, you need the experience and insight of the legal team at Luxembourg, Garbett, Kelly & George. Since 1934, they've been committed to the physical and financial recovery of personal injury victims. Why choose the law firm of Luxembourg, Garbett, Kelly & George? Attorney Larry Kelly explains.
First of all, we've been AV rated by Martindale Hubbell. It's the highest rating you can get for legal ability and ethics, and that comes from our peers. We have board-certified civil trial specialist, which is like another bar exam. Would you go to a doctor who is not board-certified? Probably not. I've always said, and I tell my daughters, I have 3 daughters who are attorneys. Those in the profession know. The lawyers of LGKG have the respect of our peers, and that's all I ever cared about.
For your free initial consultation, call the law firm of Luxembourg, Garbett, Kelly & George at 724-658-8535 or online at lgkg.com. Luxembourg, Garbett, Kelly & George, keeping promises for over 80 years.
Thanks for tuning in to Beaver County Radio, created by local people in the St. Barnabas studios. 1230 WBVP Beaver Falls and 1460 WMBA Ambridge.
Hey, Peanuts!
Hey guys, welcome back to the Hey Peanuts Sports Show, brought to you by TDK Roofing Specialists, 412-969-1167. Proudly installing Tamco building materials. Also, when the show's over, get up to just one more sports bar. Have yourself a nice beverage. Get you a calzone or the Pittsburgh-style pasta salad, anti-pasta salad. I never understood that word.
I was just about to ask you. I was trying to figure out why is that anti-pasta? Like,
I've never
because it's before the pasta or because they're against the pasta.
It's a pasta salad. They call it anti-pasta because they throw salami and pepperoni and meat in or something in it. I don't know. I've always wondered because anti means not
against it.
Against it, right?
You see, my English is not that bad.
How can you have pasta in an anti-pasta? But it's Pittsburgh style, so they throw fries on it.
Have you ever Googled that? Why anti-pasta or anti-pasta?
I'm not going to do it right now because we only have a short little bit of time here.
I bet you it has something to do. I bet you it has something to do with some Italian background that we don't know about. Like it can't be against the pasta. You can't be against the pasta.
No, pasta's good.
I agree.
Yes. So anyhow, we're going to talk a little bit about the Pirates again real quick. They're heading out West Coast. They're going to take on Anaheim in 3 games, and then they're going to go to San Diego, play 3 games. Then they'll come back home. And who did we play first? We come back home. I forgot. And then we play the Detroit, and then we go out to Milwaukee.
While you're looking for that, the anti-pasta, we looked it up here. It's derived from the Latin root anti, meaning before, meaning meal. So it's supposed to be a dish that comes before the rest.
The meal.
So that's when I said that must have been my Latin roots told me in my head because I was does it mean it's before the pasta or is it against the pasta?
So it's before the pasta.
Yeah.
Or before the meal.
Before the meal.
It's the pasta before the meal. But when you throw fries on it in Pittsburgh, it is the meal.
It's the meal becomes a 2 meals, actually. You take some home.
It's a lot of starch.
It is a lot of starch.
I mean, anything Pittsburgh style has to have a lot of starch. And just pierogi starch. That's a potato in a pasta.
Mm-hmm. That is exactly what it is.
That is exactly what it is.
That's
And
exactly
I love
what it
pierogi,
is.
so I'm not putting down Pittsburgh style food. I absolutely love the Pittsburgh style
So it looks
food.
you were asking that it looks like Pittsburgh played Philadelphia.
Philadelphia, that's right.
When they returned to.
And then we played Detroit for just a 2-game series. We did a 2-game series against them earlier in the year, I want to say. So scheduling's weird. Everything seems to be changing in Major League Baseball. And I'm an old guy. I'm used to pitchers batting still in the National League, and I'm still not over that. And the pitch clock though is good. I do like it, so we can't go against that. We'll see how that plays out in the playoffs. And I've seen some players actually take advantage of it now. They're starting to learn how to take advantage of it. I forget the pitcher, whoever it was, but the batter got a timeout. And he gets the batter timeout, and the pitcher didn't take his timeout. He just stood there ready to go. So as soon as you step in and you're ready to go, he's throwing.
That was Scherzer from the Mets. I remember seeing that clip.
Right. So and that was effective. So once these guys start doing that, you're gonna that battered timeout. You better not take that, because then when you come back in, you better be ready to swing. You better hope your foot's in the good place and all that. So we are already. I got 1 minute. So Steelers sign Alex Highsmith to $72.2 million, 38 guaranteed.
Yeah, I think it's like 68 extension, 5 years. Well,
Right.
extended 4 years.
And
We got the other side of TJ Watt locked up. Let's see what that's going to bring.
I think the Steelers, now when they say they're going to rebuild, it took a half a season. They didn't even have a losing season. In their rebuild season, they didn't have a losing season, and they look like they could be. They're not projected in the power rankings, but to me, to be as strong as I know, I'm from here, I expect big things this year with what they've done in the offseason.
I do too. I think rebuilding is not in the Steelers' vocabulary. They reload.
They reload. That's a good way to put it. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, I've been corrected a few times, so I got it right now. I'm a huge Steelers fan, so I got to use that vocabulary.
All right, guys. So stay tuned next week. Wednesday, 6 to 7, we'll be doing this again. Hopefully, we're going to be talking about the Pirates. Maybe won a few games, and maybe it's not going to be as bad as it looks like it's going to be. I mean, if they put us on every day, I keep saying this, they always win the day of the show or the game before the show.
I was about to say that earlier, too. It seems like they always win.
If we did the show yesterday, I was going to just complain the whole time about the way things are going down there. But they won. They calmed me down.
Or maybe they should move to Chicago and play all the games during the day. Maybe the day game is the key.
The day game is the key.
Well, let me say thank you so much for having me, Scott. Thank you guys for having me. I would love to come back.
All right, you're welcome anytime or every time. You've been listening to WBVP and WNBA 99.3, 95.7. And for you transistor listeners, it's 1230 and 1460 on your AM. It's been great. Thanks, Joel. Thanks, Curtis. We also going to have a new guy next week, Ryan. He's in here learning the switches today. Yeah, I think you guys are going to love this kid.
You're listening to 95.7 FM, 99.3 FM, presented by St. Barnabas, in addition to 1230 WBVP Beaver Falls and 1460 WNBA Ambridge.